Hello, my name is Palma Accardi, and you are watching Tidal Flooding Talk. We are brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition and filmed live every Sunday night here at the Irish Pub in Atlantic City.
And I'm meteorologist Dan Skeldon. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday night. And for the second straight Sunday night, we are flooding Palma with a double dose of meteorologists. Joining us for his first 2019 visit is meteorologist Joe Martucci from the Press of Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Joe?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Palma. I hope Palma doesn't get bored of all of us meteorologists. We tend to travel in bunches. You know, I like to say if you meet one, you meet like 5 of us. So I think we're carrying that alone.
I feel like I'm catching the cold or something. Like
I hope it's okay.
And we've had 2 great meteorologists from Jim Eberwine to Joe Martucci, 2 meteorologists that cover South Jersey really well, and great to have Joe here. We're gonna get his perspective a little bit on the winter that was or wasn't too bad of a winter. Nope. A little bit about the hurricane season coming up. I know you had a nice fresh post on the names.
We did, yes.
The upcoming season, which begins June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And
got a ways to go.
And just remind us a little bit about who Joe Martucci is.
Yeah, so meteorologist for the Press of Atlantic City. I went to school at Rutgers University, so kind of been born and raised in New Jersey. Actually, not from South Jersey, but I've been here for a year and a half, so I'm trying to get into the local status here. I'm from Union, New Jersey originally, about 100 exits north of the Parkway. And then before I was here, I actually worked in private weather consulting for a company called WeatherWorks, where we did everything from radio broadcast to forecasting for clients like Atlantic County Department of Public Works was a client, Eagles were a client, to forensic litigation. Pretty much you name it, we did it in weather. But very happy to be here. And I think I was telling you when the first time here, it was actually interesting how I got this job. Obviously took over from you, but I was actually in Italy when I interviewed. I had my interview in Rome. Chris Worrell, who was the editor, she's like, "Hey, can you meet up with me?" I'm like, kind of across the pond. So
did they ask you to do a forecast of Italy while you were being interviewed?
They did not. No, it was just I was sitting in my hotel room. It was like 7 o'clock at night there, so it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. We were actually just out to eat with the person who actually bought my grandma, my Naughta's place in a little village actually came from. I came right from dinner, went over there, interviewed. The day I flew back, drove down here the next day, all the way down, jet lag and everything. So it worked out. So I'm very.
See, Chris should have wrote it off as a business success. Say, hey, I got to go to Italy and meet a prospective meteorologist.
I know.
Free trip to Italy out of it.
Actually, I think what was funny when I did interview down here, she was actually in England. So I think she was. So when I actually came in person, she was in Europe. So I passed the baton off to her. She was there. Gotcha. But it's been really great to be here and getting around and meeting everybody. And I really feel like this corner of the state has a large sense of community down here, and just very happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, you've been working here for now a year and a half.
Year and a half, yes.
What have you found to be unique about the Jersey coast or this part of New Jersey?
No traffic. Easy as that.
When?
No traffic unless you're talking a summer weekend.
Right, summer weekend.
No,
right. I have to make that
traffic,
exception.
Right.
I have to make that exception. No, I think being down here, like I said, like a strong sense of community, and maybe it's just working at the newspaper. You get to see, kind of government and other side of things. But I think people are really kind of like all in this together. And when it comes to the shore, I mean, this time of year is especially when you get nice days during the off season. It's great to be walking the boardwalk or shaking a tour all across, wherever you may be. I want to do a tour. I want to, not a tour, but I want to do a day trip over in Greenwich, which is over in Cumberland County. Great little town. But I never would have known of it if I wasn't down here. So, things like that have been really cool.
How do you find forecasting for South Jersey? I mean, you come from North Jersey. The weather, the accent, how they say corporal, all that stuff is much different in North Jersey. But, South Jersey, I mean, I came from New England, even more of a culture shock. At least you came from the other end of the state.
Right.
But how do you find the weather to forecast down here? I mean, we have a very small area in the grand scheme of things to forecast for.
Native.
You are born and raised?
Yeah.
Right. I lived in Ocean City for 14 years, and I still wasn't a local. So you're only a year and a half. You got a ways to go.
I know. I still got a ways to go. No, when we're talking about weather here, I mean, obviously coastal flooding is the biggest thing. But if we're talking about actual, what's the temperature going to be? Snow. Snowstorms are tough. I mean, this winter was actually a little easier. I guess we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But classic coastal storm. Cape May gets nothing. Upper Township gets 4 inches of snow, Hamilton gets 7. It can be one of those kind of things. Or, the sea breeze. I mean, we are in sea breeze season right now. I mean,
we had one all weekend.
Yeah, we had one all weekend. I mean, there's days, we're in Pleasantville, our office, where, I think it was last week, or 2 weeks ago, Hamilton was 71, Atlantic City was 46. It's like, how do you actually forecast the numbers? Because you even have places where, Long Beach Island is even cooler than it is here when we're talking about sea breeze. So I think sea breeze fronts are, always, a little bit of a challenge, but I think you get the hang of it. Forecasting for snowstorms, I would say, are the two, main challenges for here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you do a lot more than just, posting what the weather is, which I think
I'm on
is
Instagram. We try to have fun on there, sure.
I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize with meteorologists. Like last week, our guest, Jim Eberwine, does so much other than just meteorology.
Right.
So what else are you involved with? You go to schools, you have another show, what?
Yeah. So I do go to school visits, and if you're interested, let me know, feel free to reach out. But, I'm talking to, for example, this month I was over at the Lions Club, the Lions Blind Center, and I'm speaking with a group there. Be at the Lions Club, Ventnor and Margate in a couple of weeks, working with other events. And we do have a little video series called On the Road with Joe, which in 2018, we went to all the towns that we cover. So we went to all 63 towns, wrapped it up in Stone Harbor. We were trying to get it all in 2018, but at least we got it done in 365 days in January. Then this year we're kind of taking a different approach, a little more focusing on the environment, and we're doing theme months. So last month was called it March Madness. Of course, March can throw you anything when it comes to weather. So we were over at Vineland Department of Public Works and speaking with them about how they really need to use everything they know to combat, what's happening in March. And they actually said it's their second toughest month, the first one being May, but that was because more of their recreational program. Okay. And then we were over at Ocean City Fire Department talking about their people movers that they have when there's coastal flooding. We're going into April now. We're going to work with the Rutgers Ag Extension, talk about their master gardening program, and we're also going to do a little pollen forecast as well, but also digging into how pollen forms. So, things like that.
It's not a desk job, then.
It's not a desk job. I try to get out. I mean, it's always good to be out, and whether it's meeting people or doing a shoot, it's been it's rewarding to do that as well.
And like you said, you've been to the 63 municipalities, boroughs, townships, cities, town. Mm-hmm. What's the one town in South Jersey? Do you remember? There's one municipality that goes by the classification town.
Hold on.
Not township?
Not township.
Town.
There's townships and boroughs are the most common. Obviously, there's cities, and then there's a town. I'm going to put you on the spot. Atlantic County.
Hold on. I want to give me 10 seconds.
Anyone else could chime in as well.
Is it Summers Point?
It is not Summers Point.
Mullica?
It's the city of Summers Point. Mullica is a township.
And then I'm out.
It is the town of Hamilton.
Okay.
It's the only jurisdiction that goes by the name town.
Now, I do know Hamilton also has the oldest Italian-American Day Parade.
Yes.
In the country, which I found, and also the second most Italian Americans in the country.
By per capita.
By per capita, right.
Number one's in Rhode Island, where I'm from. Johnston, Rhode Island's number one. Hamilton, New Jersey's number two. So there's our little trivia section today.
There's our little trivia for you.
You mentioned pollen. We're coming up on pollen season, but we're wrapping up winter season. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think we're done with snow. Usually once you get past March, which has been really bad recently, you're done with snow. But what's your thought on the winter that was? From a forecasting standpoint, I know Palma and I talked with Jim last week. There was no big nor'easter. Not that we always have a historic storm, but we usually have a notable coastal storm or two, and we didn't.
Yeah.
What are your other reflections of the winter?
Yeah, the coastal flooding was at a minimum, which was great. I know as of March 11th, we only got 7 coastal flood advisories and 2 coastal flood warnings, and that was from October. And I think we just added another advisory since then, so that was pretty low. But also, I think the thing that really stuck out was that South Jersey ended up about average for snowfall, but the central and northern half of the state was way below average. So we had a couple of, I called them South Jersey snow specials. You can call it expressway specials, and that started right from the beginning of winter in December 5th, where we had an inverted trough, and we won't bother, bore everybody with what that is. But, Brigantine got 7.5 inches of snow. Cape May, nothing. Tom's River, barely an inch. So we kind of had a couple of those events where we had these little storms that pretty much just tracked from the Midwest, went pretty much due east. We were on that northern side of it where we just were cold enough for snow, just were, cold enough, and then, we snowed on top of that. But the northern half of the state, some days, I think 1 or 2 events, they were just straight mostly sunny, and we had a little bit of snow. So that was, I think, really interesting, and really 2 interesting winters in a row, because we did have that big blizzard last January of 2018, which was, one of top 10, I think, or at least top 15 for us all time.
Now, after a successful winter, what do you forecast for the next few months?
Yeah, so, right now, I think the biggest thing we have to take away from is that last year was record wet. Whether it's rain or snow, we ended up with the most precipitation on record. And even our winter, which was December, January, and February, we were above average. Not record amounts, but we were above average. So, I think what that tells me, growing season's looking good. But I think when we're going to the summer, we're talking about the humidity creeping back in. And last summer was pretty high on the humidity levels. I mean, we don't actually track that, but the dew points, which is the measured humidity, extremely high. I think we're going to see more of the same as we go into this summer.
Because the soil is just so wet.
Correct.
And it evaporates, the water gets in the air. Yeah, you're right.
So
exactly.
Is it a good time to start landscaping and
Yeah, I mean, this weekend I hope some of you guys have got to take the time out and do some of that. I think, looking at the next 7 days, we're about seasonable. I mean, tomorrow's going to be really warm, but about seasonable. Don't really see, maybe we get another frost or 2 in, but if you're at the shore, I think you're done with 32.
Usually you're done.
So I can't use that excuse anymore?
You cannot. But if you're in the Pinelands, I know the rule of thumb in South Jersey is Mother's Day. If you want to be 100% safe for your tomato plants, like the real sensitive stuff, you wait till Mother's Day. Along the shore, obviously, it's a little earlier.
Right, yeah. And actually, if you don't mind, I want to go back.
Absolutely.
Let's go back to the wildfire we had just 2 weeks ago. And that actually shows that even though we were record wet and we were wet during the winter, in the Pinelands, it's a whole other story because you have that sugar soil there, you get the wind blowing, it dries out real quick, and, even after a record wet year, it's not even so much how wet it's been, but it's how wet you are during, the season. And as we're going into April, which is peak wildfire time, getting into May, we're hoping that we can get these rain events to come once or twice a week to really give us, enough to saturate the soil.
Didn't you recently post something about that?
I did.
As well?
It's the same thing. Basically, Joe said it, that even though the soil's really, really wet, the fuels on top of the forest, like the dry leaves and brush, dry out quick. So you could be digging saying, how can there be a forest fire? Because everything's so muddy once you dig into the ground, but the stuff on top of the ground dries up, high fire danger, and the press has written some great March, April, May fire stories because we have nor'easter season, we have hurricane season, but kind of tucked in between the two is a very short but sometimes a very bad fire season.
Absolutely.
So you could have a show, coastal fire talk. You could because there is that threat. And back I think in the 60s there were horrible wildfires in the New Jersey Pinelands.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
All right. Let's just say hi to a couple people who are chiming in today. We always say we're going to be better in commenting quicker on these fans. This is
we on good timing?
Props to you.
Yeah, we are. Right. But I want to say thanks to everyone watching. And of course, you can always come on down to the Irish Pub and join us here for food and drink before, during, or after the show. And of course, you can always join the conversation online as well. We have Sharon Peter watching from the Caribbean.
Lucky,
how do you say
Good for her. The Caribbean? I don't know. That's
Caribbean.
Yeah, I switch it up, I think, every time.
As do I, to not make, not play favorites. But it's not hurricane season yet, so pretty good weather, hopefully, down in the tropics. Sharon, nice to have you on. Phyllis Stein, are we getting bad weather this weekend? This weekend, no. Next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend, we're looking for a cold front to come through sometime in that Friday to Saturday time period, but I don't think it looks overly too concerning. I think the winds are going to be the strongest concern with that Friday to Saturday. But we're still 5 days out, and things we know what's going on, but we're going to still fine tune it as we go between now and then. Absolutely.
Well, we are going to have a show next week. However, on Easter, we will not be having a show.
We will not be here. The Skeldon family is not doing much for Easter with a 4-week-old child. So me, Amanda, Kenzie having a quiet Easter dinner.
Nice.
So I'm going to break away after dinner, and I'll do a quick little Easter Tidal Flooding Talk, which will probably be Easter Kenzie Talk, because if there's no storms and no Palma, and it's just me, people don't want to talk about weather. They want to talk about Kenzie, who'll be on my lap. So we'll do that in a couple weeks, and she is doing great. She was going to make it to the pub here today, but couldn't pry her away from her grandmother and her aunt and her step-grandmother, and so she is with family right now. This says hi to y'all.
Well, tell her hi back. Yeah, congratulations again. This is our first time in person. So
well, the Irish pub will be waiting for Kenzie, so...
It'll always be here.
It will. And I mean, they are open 24/7. Back in my drinking days, not that I don't drink anymore, but I was usually here in the 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. time frame. Obviously, I've changed, and now it's more of a 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening. And it's actually pretty quiet. Nice quiet. I mean, usually, you get the hustle and bustle. It's actually a nice quiet time to come down here, say hi, or just get some great food and drink.
I was actually here on St. Patrick's Day. Well, the day before, or no, I'm sorry, when the AC St. Patrick's Day parade was, and that was very busy.
That's the week before.
The week before, the Saturday before. So I'm getting my weeks confused, but it was very crowded here, and it's always a great time.
I think that's their holiday.
That is their holiday. It's not my holiday. Yeah. I don't think it's your holiday.
Yeah.
But it might be your. Are you Irish?
A little Irish.
Little Irish. Okay. But
my holiday's Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Groundhog Day. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we have Accardi, Martucci,
right.
Skeldon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you think? Hurricane season June 1st. Names are out. Of course, we use the same list every 6 years.
Yeah, you posted that today,
we did.
Right?
Yeah, we posted it a couple
days
on Friday. Yeah, we posted that. I re-upped it, so you might have seen it fresh up there. But yeah, we have one new name. That was I think Ingrid was retired in 2013. Dan, you might be able to back me up on that. I think it was Ingrid that was retired. So we rotate every 6 years. So and
just tell a little bit about how a name gets retired.
Yeah.
Sure. And I know Irene was retired. Sandy was retired. And this past year, I think Michael and there was one more. Florence were retired.
Yeah.
So how do we go about retiring, and what do we do with the name when a name is retired?
Yeah.
And how is it replaced? So we want to go into that a little bit.
Yeah, great question. Sure. Yeah, it's really when it's a memorable storm. Typically one that causes a lot of damage and devastation across the area. So, like you said, Florence, which was the hurricane that dropped tremendous amounts of rain in the Carolinas, really was hanging out. It was a very slow-moving storm that we were tracking for a while. That was retired, and what happens is, like we said, the names are rotated every 6 years. So we'll have a new F name in 2024.
Right.
And then Michael, I was trying to my math. And then Michael was the one that slammed in Mexico City in Florida. Was a 155-mile-an-hour storm when it came in. Tremendous devastation there as well. And that one was retired. And so we will have a new M name in 2024.
We do not have Palma on any of the lists. I apologize. So we would need a bad P storm. Paulette, Paula, Patty are the P names. We would need them to be retired, and then we would need the World Meteorological Organization to pick the name.
We got a petition.
It's just like trying to find my name in souvenir shops. You name it. It's not going to happen, and I've accepted.
But I mean, it makes you feel better. Joe is not on there.
I'm not.
Right. Josephine is, but Joe is not.
That's all right. Well, I'll take it.
Our executive director, who will remain nameless, Tom, he's not on there either. And I got Danny, which my mom says I can't be called. I have to be Dan or Daniel, but Danny is a name as well. So this year we have, let's real quickly, we begin with Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dorian, Erin, Fernand, Gabrielle, Umberto. You also recognize we have English names, Spanish names, and French names, because those are the names of the languages that are spoken around the Atlantic.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I know the National Hurricane Center is doing their Hurricane Awareness Tour. And not only are they doing it in the United States, but they're doing it in the Caribbean as well, to your point. And, at Colorado State University, they put out their forecast, which is, I would say, like the gold standard besides the NOAA forecast in terms of, its accuracy and the amount of research that goes into it. And they're forecasting about average year, about the same number of named storms, and just a little bit on the lower side when it comes to hurricanes or major hurricanes. But, I think, and I'm sure Jim said this last week, but, it only takes one hurricane to make it active.
Right.
If we only had one hurricane and it slammed right here at the Jersey Shore, no one's gonna say, oh, it was a weak year here in New Jersey. It's an active storm.
I always use the 2 years. I think it was like 2010. We had like 20 storms. None of them hit the U.S. So 20 storms is a lot.
Yeah.
None of them hit the U.S. Who cares? Quiet year. 1992, 5 storms.
Right.
Andrew, Category 5 hurricane into Florida. So
Exactly.
yeah, it only takes one.
Yep.
Jim Eberwine says it. You say it. I think every meteorologist says it only takes one. I also just found too, isn't it weird that the hurricane forecasting specialist center, best one, is in the middle of the Rocky Mountains? I always found that was odd too.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be in Florida.
They'd always be up and running, I guess.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. They know that they're safe there,
Yeah.
so that they can say, they can say whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a big event when they roll out their hurricane forecast. So it's something I use, and they put a lot of work into it. I think it's Dr. Philip, and I'm going to butcher the last name, but it's Klotzbach.
Yep.
I know he's a very smart guy. He's also active on Twitter too. I mean, he's worth a follow if you're into weather, because he posts some really in-depth stuff about what's going on with the tropics as well.
And yeah, hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th.
Yeah.
Peak of South Jersey season. I always use the days, and you can agree or you can express your opinion. I always said for us, it's like August 15th to October 15th.
Yeah.
It's kind of the meat of our season, with September being the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, first of all, that's the peak for hurricane season in general. And, it's not like New Jersey is like super susceptible to hurricanes, right? I mean, we had the back, 2011, 2012, but just based on our geography, we're kind of protected by the Carolinas, if you think about it, because they're due south. So, you really need, to get a full-on hurricane, you really need a Sandy-type track, something that's really moving east to west, or something maybe like the Great Atlantic Hurricane or the Great New England Hurricane 44 or Hurricane was it Bob? I think that was memorable as well. So we'll hope that we didn't get anything.
New England sticks out, the Carolinas stick out, and we are in.
Yeah.
So we have to go around the Carolinas and come into Jersey. So it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, Maine, which is way, way up, has more landfalling hurricanes than New Jersey.
Yeah, I was actually going to say Nova Scotia.
Oh, it's even more dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, from a strictly weather perspective, spend a year over in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, because they get the nor'easters and they get the hurricanes as well.
I'm going to give you another chance for a trivia question. This one's tough too, and I did not get it when first asked. Okay, now I ask it because I know the answer. When was the last hurricane landfall in New Jersey? Now, none of us were
I know
out
when
for
it is.
Our executive director probably was, but we were not around for it.
Was it Donna?
It was not Donna. That hit up in New England in 1960.
Was it the Great Atlantic Hurricane then?
It was
44?
the unnamed hurricane of 1903. So Tom remembers it. If you did come down to South Jersey, he has good stories. He'll tell you for an hour about his experiences in the 1903 hurricane. But it was an unnamed hurricane that went up right about where the Parkway is, Fairfield and Cape May.
Right.
Now the 44 storm, 30 miles off the coast.
Okay.
Irene was a hurricane. In hindsight, they downgraded it to a tropical storm. Sandy was a hurricane till an hour before landfall, and then mysteriously became post-tropical, which I still don't believe. I still think it was a hurricane at landfall, and I think 20 years from now, they got to change it to a hurricane at landfall. But that's just a personal pet peeve.
Well, they do look back
at that. You could start a petition or something.
You should, right? Yeah, start a petition.
I don't like to be that squeaky Facebook wheel. No, that's all right. I'll try to be quiet. But 1903 was the last time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I knew it wasn't definitely Irene and it wasn't Sandy.
Yep.
I think one of the things that came from that now is that the National Hurricane Center can issue hurricane warnings, even if it's in that Sandy-esque, type of situation where it's not tropical, but it's still a situation to be dealt with. So I think that was a really good improvement. They did that last year, and I think the National Hurricane Center can now issue hurricane watches and warnings, watches a little further ahead of time. I think it's like 72 hours.
Yep.
And storm surge warnings they can do too, which is huge, especially for here. We're talking about coastal flooding. Obviously the biggest thing we have going on here. We're trying to mitigate. I know, kind of going off topic a little bit, but Route 40, which floods so often, is really, it looks like they're going to be raising that roadway.
And the press did some great stories on that too, right? I believe. I don't know
we tried. No, it wasn't me. It was not me. It was not me. But yeah, we wrote about it. I think in 2021 or 2022 that's going to start, which is huge. hopefully we can work on the White Horse Pike as well.
Because obviously evacuating during storms
correct.
is big, and if the roads are flooded, you have problems.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the questions. I'm sure you got this as well a lot, but I'm doing a talk, and when you're with groups, we actually had the guys get together group, which meets in either Ventnor or Margate, and we talked for about a half hour about coastal flooding.
Yep.
And that's always the big thing. Is Wellington Avenue going to, can we escape via Wellington Avenue? I'm like, well, hopefully you're out before you get to that coastal flooding, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, people, it's human nature to not want to leave until the last minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get here to the last minute, I mean, if we leave at the last minute, nothing
yeah, but you were early today.
I was early today. I was. Well, Palma is such a good example that, every once in a while I got to try to at least be, half as punctual and prepared as she is.
Right,
so,
right.
Once every couple months.
Speaking of preparation and speaking of hurricanes, I think we all know that we should prepare ahead of time for storms. We did post in the past about emergency weather kits, so you could look back at that if you want to get a jump start on the hurricane season.
Yeah, great. Check them out.
In this area, wouldn't you say that, what is the most dangerous part of a hurricane?
It's coastal flooding. I mean, it really is. You don't, because it's something that doesn't require the high winds. It's something that, the rain, it's bad, it'll go away. But the coastal flooding, yes, it will go away, but it's going to leave some damage, when it comes through. And, especially, a lot of towns down here. I mean, we're really a hot spot for coastal flooding. I mean, there's nothing really much more to say about it. But even compared to places up further north in New Jersey, this is really a hot spot for coastal flooding. And it's something that's been happening more often and will continue to do so. I mean, something I always like to point out when I'm doing talks, the number of coastal flooding events we had in Atlantic City this decade is 8 times as much as we had in the 1950s and 60s on average, and that's just been an upward trend. And we're doing things to mitigate it, and we'll continue to do things to mitigate it. So it's important to keep that on top of our minds.
No.
That's a very good point. That's a stat I did not hear, so that's.
I will have to show you that. Yeah, okay. I was going to bring a piece of paper with that graphic because I always like to show it when I'm talking about coastal flooding. But yeah, it's something again we have seen, and we'll see more of, and have seen more of.
And I think that's a stat that I'm going to pull, and of course give you credit in future times.
Don't give me credit. I got it from somewhere else.
Right.
That wasn't my own
but
research.
You heard it from him.
Yeah.
Now, out of all of your weather reports and posts, how much do you think involves flooding or even advisory flooding?
It really depends on how often we have it. So this winter, we didn't talk about it that much. Last March, we talked about it a lot. I try to write other pieces about coastal flooding. Thankfully, we're really, at the paper, focused on the environment. So we actually have an environmental reporter. Her name is Avalon. Pretty fitting for the town of Avalon. She's been down there once or twice. But she's been reporting on that. So that's great because, she reports on what's kind of news in the coastal flooding. And then, I pitch in with the actual what's going to happen. And, social media is great to get that word out as well. And people will send pictures, especially the one we had in October, a couple weeks after I was here. Really big event where it was, a moderate coastal flood stage, borderline major. In some places that we captured a lot of good photos of, and just to show the damage that could happen, and that was from a coastal storm. And when you're talking about a hurricane, more than likely it's probably going to be worse than that we had. Yeah.
How can people follow you, Joe, and follow everything you have to say and everything you write, and get your forecasts? Yeah,
thanks. So we do videos 2 times a day. We have weekend videos too. That's on impressiveac.com/weather. We also have a weather center. Which is kind of like your encyclopedia of South Jersey weather. So we have that too. As far as social media goes, I shared this on my Facebook page. It's Joe Mart WX. That's the handle. You can look up my name. It's there too. Twitter is AC Press Martucci. I'm on Instagram too at Joe Mart WX. We like to have a little fun on Instagram. That's more of the fun part. But I'm always on there. I try to keep active. And it shows. Obviously, we're on social media so much. That's nothing new, but you can see that, especially when you're putting out articles, you do see that people are reading them when you do get it shared on social media. So I try to be as active as I can.
And you do. You have to be available on all platforms. You know? Like when my job first started, it was the 6 o'clock news. And now it's everything. Everything you just said. All the social media platforms and talks. And it's good. You reach more people, but it is a lot more energy to reach more people.
Yes, it's a lot more energy. And I think, maybe you could talk about this, but I know, even when I was starting to intern, and this was we're talking maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. Like social media, like still for news was not really huge. Like I even know, like talking with some people, they wanted you to avoid it in the beginning. And I don't know if you felt that.
They did. My best friend, who's a meteorologist up in Boston, he was the one who got me into it. He said, this is going to be the future. Our station wasn't doing it, so I got to jump on it like in 2009-ish. Yeah. And right about the time we got to jump on it, that's when all our weather started turning bad. It's new social media is here because we got 3 blizzards, we got Irene, we got Jonas, we got Sandy, we got derecho, earthquakes, everything else. So as soon as weather people got on social media, our weather took a turn for the worse, at least here locally. All right, well, guys, thanks so much for being here. Joe Martucci, our guest from the Press of Atlantic City.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of course, you can tune in every Sunday, 7 p.m. We're brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition, working on spreading awareness, and kind of doing what we've been doing for the last 30 minutes and 19 seconds, and that is, talking tidal flooding and preparation and, how we're adapting to changing weather along the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and we do have a website. But if you want to look at all of that, you can just go to our Facebook, New Jersey Coastal Coalition. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me here. Really appreciate it.
A Irish pub T-shirt,
right.
which is also,
just don't wear it in front of the green screen.
I won't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll keep this far away. I'll wear this Saturdays and Sundays. Look at that. Even we got Phillies colors. How about that?
Although, are you a Yankee or Mets fan, being from North Jersey? That's right. I'm a Red Sox fan, so you don't have to answer. You can just say you can plead the fifth.
Right. I will say I'll plead the fifth on that.
Okay. Right.
But I am a Stanley Cup winning Capitals fan, and I won't be upset about that. You guys don't at me on that. But yeah.
I got the Red Sox and Patriots.
There you go. So you're good.
Palma will have the Phillies this year.
So there you go. Right. Phillies. I did say 101 wins for the Phillies this year. Wow. So there you go.
We are also going to have a special edition of Tidal Flooding Talk on Friday up in Trenton with the New Jersey Insurance Council. I will be up there ready for this? I've been in New Jersey for how long? I've never been to Trenton.
Really?
In all these years, so I get to see the state capitol.
Capital of pork roll.
Capital of pork roll?
That is true.
It is, okay.
Yeah, they have a pork roll festival Saturday of Memorial Day weekend.
See, why couldn't we do our live stream to coincide with that?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
And just one final side note. I've been on Twitter for a long time, and the most popular tweet I ever posted was pork roll related. South Jersey was in the 70s and sunny. North Jersey was in the 30s and cloudy and damp and dreary. And I said, South Jersey's got the better weather because we correctly call it pork roll. And it was hated up in North Jersey. And everyone shared it and retweeted it. And to my day, even with all the sandy stuff, that's the most popular tweet, the most retweeted tweet I've ever seen.
There you go, Dan. Hard-hitting journalism right there.
All right, well, our aforementioned director Tom is giving us the rap cue because we're over the 30 minutes, and his name has been mentioned way too many times.
This is the third time you mentioned
so I'm in trouble. So, but I was early today, so I can get out of it. So thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you next Sunday night for a guest to be announced, and the following Sunday with a guest, Kenzie Jane Skeldon. So hope you tune in for both shows. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
Good
Dan.
night.